Every Viking costume features horned helmets. Every movie, every textbook illustration, every Halloween party. But there's a problem. Vikings never wore them. Not once. Not ever. Someone created one of history's most persistent lies, and the truth behind it reveals a conspiracy of nationalism, opera, and deliberate historical manipulation. Archaeologists have excavated hundreds of Viking sites across Scandinavia. They've found weapons, jewelry, ships, and even complete burial grounds. Only one authentic Viking helmet has ever been discovered intact. The Geirmundbu helmet from Norway, dated to the 10th century, features a simple rounded iron cap with a nose guard, no horns, no wings, nothing protruding whatsoever. Horned helmets did exist in Scandinavia, but they predate Vikings by 2,000 years. Bronze Age ceremonial helmets from 900 BCE featured elaborate horns, but these were religious artifacts for rituals, not combat gear. They were fragile, decorative, and completely impractical for battle. By the Viking Age, these ancient relics had been forgotten, buried deep in bogs and archaeological layers. The lie began in 1820s Sweden. Romantic nationalism was sweeping Europe, and nations desperately wanted glorious ancient histories. Swedish artist August Malmström painted Vikings wearing horned helmets in his illustrations for the Poetic Edda. He borrowed imagery from those Bronze Age helmets, deliberately conflating different eras to create a more dramatic, exotic image of Scandinavian warriors. In 1876, German composer Richard Wagner premiered his opera cycle Der Ring der Nibelungen. Costume designer Carl Emil Doppler created the stage costumes, equipping his Viking-inspired characters with spectacular horned helmets. Wagner's operas became cultural phenomena across Europe and America. Millions witnessed these performances, and the horned helmet image became permanently seared into public consciousness. Nordic nationalist movements embraced the horned helmet enthusiastically. It made Vikings appear more savage, more primitive, more distinctly different from classical civilizations. This served political narratives perfectly. By the late 1800s, textbooks, political cartoons, and public monuments featured horned Vikings. The image became shorthand for Nordic identity, despite being completely fictional. When cinema arrived, Hollywood cemented the myth forever. The 1928 film The Vikings starred Douglas Fairbanks in a magnificent horned helmet. Kirk Douglas wore one in 1958's The Vikings. Television series, comic books, and video games followed suit. The entertainment industry had zero incentive to correct the record when the lie looked so visually striking on screen. Basic military logic explains why horned helmets never existed in real combat. Horns provide grab points for enemies, turning the helmet into a liability. They add unnecessary weight and throw off balance during fighting. They catch on branches, doorways, and ship rigging. Any competent warrior would remove such suicidal attachments immediately. Vikings were expert fighters who valued practical, effective equipment. Actual Vikings wore simple, conical, or rounded iron helmets, when they wore helmets at all. Most warriors fought with leather caps or nothing on their heads. They favored mobility, speed, and practical protection. Their clothing was functional wool and linen, not theatrical costumes. They were traders, explorers, and farmers, as much as raiders. The real Vikings were far more complex and interesting than the cartoon version we inherited. Despite decades of historical correction, the horned helmet refuses to die. It appears in children's books, sports team logos, and tourist merchandise throughout Scandinavia. The Minnesota Vikings NFL team proudly features horned helmets in their branding. The lie has become more powerful than truth because it serves a purpose: instant visual recognition. It's a symbol that communicates Viking immediately, even if it communicates something completely false. The horned helmet myth reveals how easily historical fiction becomes accepted fact. A combination of nationalist propaganda, operatic spectacle, and entertainment industry momentum created a lie that survived 200 years of archaeological evidence against it. Next time someone wears a horned helmet costume, they're not honoring Vikings. They're honoring 19th century Swedish painters and German opera designers. Subscribe to discover what else history got completely wrong.